Hello, welcome to our InfoZoom video series, where here this time we're going to talk about data visualization that's inherent within the InfoZoom product itself. My name is Stephen Pesklo. I'm president of SoftLake Solutions. And from an agenda perspective, why do we do data visualization? Just to be able to identify certain patterns that were maybe unexpected. So things like, looking for internal audits, for criminal investigations, for fraud investigations. It's very commonly we want to identify and see patterns in the data in a very easy to use, intuitive way, without any scripting or programming of any sort. Note that I'll be talking about graphing and dashboarding capabilities of InfoZoom in another video. But what I'd like to show you right now is InfoZoom. When you first bring in InfoZoom data into InfoZoom, you can use Excel, text file, etc. It looks kind of like an Excel spreadsheet on its side. So these are your transactions along the bottom here, kind of like I guess a pivoted table, or it's more viewing it left to right. And then these here are your attributes. So your columns of your database table, or maybe an Excel spreadsheet headers. The more interesting view is this idea of getting an overview. And the way you read this is you're going left to right. So here you can see I have something called customer type. I can see that there are three different values, and I can see that my individuals are my largest segments. So I'm not working with 5,000 transactions. This would look the same whether it was in the 5,000 or in the millions of transactions. If you want to see any details of a particular attribute, you just can go ahead and hit the funnel of any of these attributes to be able to see these details. So in this case, I can see I'm working with about 2,900, in this case 82 individuals. I can quickly graph it and show uh, what is there just by hitting that little graphing button that exists right here. So this charting button is really pervasive throughout the entire software. And from here, you can start to identify certain trends even from here. So if I drill into something, let's say if I drill into here, I can see how the data and the graphing are dynamically changing as I'm going through and drilling through things. That can be interesting in that you can, again, see patterns and identify kind of your baseline. So in this case, I can see about 10% corporate customers, and I can see how characteristics are changing with that data. So another common thing you can see is simply here I have a title. I can see that there are a lot of missing titles in my data. I hover over it and I can see about 170 blank titles. That is an unusual pattern that I might want to investigate further. I can see that my average age, because 50 is about right in the middle, that my average age is around 50 years old. Certain attributes that I may not have been familiar with in the past, um, I can then see them, and I can see, in this case, what this attribute called transaction type is. If I saw that on a database column somewhere, I may not understand what it is. Here, it's pretty clear what this is. A type of a transaction that this is actually is. Here I can see invoice amounts. I can see that I have a lot of $0 invoices. Again, that might be a bit of an unusual pattern that I might want to investigate further. I can see we use stop lighting, red, yellow, and green, and claim amounts. So if I drill through certain things, I can get into and see certain patterns. I already showed this one, but what might be unusual is that I see, instead of 50 years old as kind of the average, I can see how these different patterns change just by drilling through them. So if I drill into, this one, I can see maybe a potentially unusual pattern. And then I can grab multiple ones too, just to see what those averages might be. So it allows you to see very fast how patterns are changing in the data. So in this case, here is a claim amount. If I wanted to see what was in this claim amount, I can, again, look at the little funnel. I can sort on the N, which allows me to see, duplicate transaction claim amounts in this case. Allows me to identify potential unusual patterns. In this case, I have a high claim, two high claims that are duplicates. If I wanted to look into these patterns and say, well, I want to look into these, and I maybe grab the top ones, all I have to do is just kind of grab the top ones, and then I can start to identify certain, again, unusual patterns. So I might want to drill even further, and I can see that I have two transactions that are really high and unusual. My highest claim is about $3.9 million. My second highest is about 3.2. Third highest is only 1.1. So again, I have all this data in memory. I can just drill into these two, and then I can start to identify why these might be a little unusual. You'll notice I'm going back. It kind of uses like a web browser idea, or if I want to, I could also go ahead and just do a zoom out. Now, all of this visualization comes to you instantly as you go and load in your data. With the exception of the color coding, which I had to set up afterwards, all this data is presented to you. These visualizations are presented to you as soon as you bring data into InfoZoom. Um, I'm glad to hope that you found this video interesting. If you have any questions, of course, please contact us. We'd be happy to help you out. Thanks.